The Indians stared victory in the face, but Kerry Wood couldn't hold on in his first save opportunity of the season. Today's a new day, and Mitch Talbot gets the ball looking to earn a split for the Tribe and earn his 6th win of the season. We've got it next on Sports Time Ohio. It's a beautiful day for baseball here in downtown Cleveland as the Indians and the Royals put the wraps on this 2-game series. Hi, everyone. Matt Underwood alongside Rick Manning. Brutal loss for the Indians last night. It wasn't really a well-played game. Lots of base runners, lots of missed opportunities for both teams. But at the end of the day, Indians went into the ninth with a 4-3 lead and a chance to win.
Had an opportunity, Kerry Wood's first save opportunity, and it just did not go well. Everything he was throwing was upstairs. The fastball from that triple to lead off the inning, and then Butler hits one off the wall, another fastball upstairs, and you see a double that clears the bases. It was not a good night for Kerry Wood. And, you know, what are you going to do? He's playing catch-up. He missed the first month. He's going to toss that glove into Souvenir City. There it goes, and he takes a bat. Going to take it out on some frustration out somewhere else. And I'll tell you what, it's a tough way to start right there.
And so the Indians turn to Mitch Talbot today, who has been dynamite, going for his 6th win of the year, and that would tie him to the league lead.
Well, Mitch has already stopped 4 losing streaks for the Indians this year out of his 5 wins. And this guy just goes out there, he cuts it, he sinks it, he changes speed, he really makes it look easy. In his last start against the Orioles, he hung in there. He was getting shut out, but he went out there for that 8th inning, and then the Indians come back and they have a big 8-run inning, and he gets the win. So he's looking for win number 6 to tie David Price for the league. He'll be matched up against Lou Kochaver, who's a sinker ball pitcher, only 1-4 against the Indians, but he's only given up 1 home run in over 40 innings of pitching.
And, you know, Rick, one last thought on Kerry Wood. He's still the closer.
Right.
And, you know, not to defend his performance last night because you still got to get the save. But the Indians, so many scoring opportunities they didn't take advantage of. And when you don't take advantage of them, that's what can happen.
Got to score to win, and we said that, but they scored 4. That's more than they normally do. So you got to win games by 1 run. They had a chance in Tampa. They didn't do it. They had a chance last night. They didn't do it. They're going to have to start doing it.
All right, we'll have all the play-by-play action coming up next. Have a look at the starting lineup for Ned Yost's Royals today. It will be Scott Posednik, followed by Mike Aviles and then David DeJesus. Billy Butler batting in the cleanup spot with a hit in 8 of his last 9. Jose Guillen bats 5th. He'll DH. Alberto Calespo is the third baseman hitting 6th. And then it's Mitch Meyer, Yuniesky Betancourt, and Jason Kendall. Same lineup they had in last night's win.
Well, today's starting pitcher brought to you by the Indians Team Shops, where you get 2 free tickets when you spend $50. Mitch Talbot on the mound, making start number 8 for the Indians. He's had a very fine year to this point, 5-2. 4 of those 5 wins coming after an Indians loss, so he's looking to do the same today in his 47 1/3 innings, 39 hits, 19 strikeouts. In his last start, did a terrific job. Hung in there for 8 innings, was getting beat 2-0, and then the Indians put up a big 8-run 9th inning. He was the beneficiary of the win, and left-handed hitters in that ball game just 1 for 14 off him. Let's take a look at the Home Depot doing more on defense. Indian defensive lineup. Laporta in left today, Crow is in center, and Chu is in right. It'll be Peralta, Donald, Valbuena gets the start at second with Branyan at first. Lou Marson again behind the plate. This afternoon, the Indians rated 4th in defense. They've made 24 errors this year.
Mitch Talbot into the line. And we're underway today here in downtown Cleveland as he misses low, ball 1 to Scott Posednik. The Royals' leadoff hitter last night was 1 for 5 in the ball game. 2 balls and no strikes. Talbot trying to move into a tie for the league lead in wins today. This is his 8th start. He already has 1 complete game. And an earned run average of 3.23 coming in, but he's fallen behind Scott Posednik here. 3-0 to start the game. And it's ball 4. Today's umpires, Marty Foster calling the balls and strikes. Gary Cedarstrom at first, Ed Hickox at second, and Fieldin Colbreth down at third. Mike Aviles had 3 hits in last night's game, including a double and a big leadoff triple in the 9th inning. Runner goes. Strike called. Throw is in time.
Beautifully done. Behind the plate, Lou Marson's been throwing the baseball outstanding. And he makes another good throw as Posednik wanted to take off. He's throwing out over 30% of the runners. That's the 8th caught stealing out of 24 attempts. So that is going to be our McDonald's. I'm loving it. And it is a very nice throw. Get him out of here.
Like the way that Jason Donald dropped his knee down.
Well, why not? When they come back with hands first, you can drop your knee and you're not going to get spiked.
Aviles flies to center. 2 quick outs now. It'll bring up David DeJesus. He went 2 for 4 in last night's game. .268 hitter on the year, 4 homers, 14 runs batted in.
Right now, having a tough time finding the strike zone.
Yeah, only 2 of 7 have been called strikes for Talbot so far, but he has 2 outs. And that one handcuffed Lou Marson. Longtime Royal David DeJesus,
who I believe at the end of the year, he has an option year left in that contract. And now with Alex Gordon, who their fine young third baseman is, down in the minor leagues playing the outfield. You know, if he, and supposedly he's making a very good transition, going from the infield to the outfield could be a big lift for the Kansas City Royals if that kid can come back and play.
Strike call, it's 3-1. I'm going to look it up again. I know he signed through this year.
Right, I think they have an option year on him.
That would make sense.
Right. You know, if not, if they don't pick up the option, it becomes a free agent.
Full count.
And he's going to make Mitch Talbot work to find the strike zone. But Mitch does. Back-to-back strikes.
Oh, he got him looking. DeJesus doesn't like the call. But after falling behind 3-0, Talbot comes back with a game of tic-tac-toe. And the inning is over. The Indians starting lineup today is presented by Progressive Insurance. Progressive, proud to be the official auto insurance provider of the Cleveland Indians. And for the Tribe, it's Trevor Crowe, Jason Donald up to the 2-hole, and then Shin-Soo Choo. Hafner, Peralta, Branyan in the middle. Laporta, Valbuena gets the start, hitting 8th, and Lou Marson behind the plate, batting 9th. Trevor Crowe looks at ball one. Trevor Crowe was 2 for 5 in last night's game. These are the situations that occur when you have injuries and you already have a young club to begin with. You end up with a Trevor Crowe and a Jason Donald now batting 1 and 2. At the top of the lineup.
Well, this is where it's gotten. You don't mind having these guys in the lineup, but man, you're force feeding them when you put them up at the top. But Trevor Crowe comes up with a base hit.
Trial by fire, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. There's nothing wrong with it. We're going to get a good look at it, a long look at it. Hochevar's a sinker ball pitcher. Trevor Crowe's a good low ball hitter, and he had a line drive right back up the middle. A good approach to stay on him. It's throw it and duck. As a matter of fact, Luke Hochevar's only given up 1 home run in his 43 innings of work this year, so he keeps it in the ballpark, and 1.78 ground balls per fly ball. So you can consider him a ground ball pitcher.
Donald was trying to push bunt toward first base.
And the reason why, when you talk about these two young guys being at the top of the lineup, they don't know any of the pitchers. They're going around basically the first time. Crowe's had maybe just a really quick look at a few of them. But, I mean, if you look at any of them, they're facing them for the first time and with no track record whatsoever. But that could be a good thing. You see ball, hit ball. Keep it simple, my friend.
Trevor Crowe already has 2 stolen bases.
Well,
Donald fouls it back.
They ran at will last night because they had 4 stolen bases as a team, and that was the most they've had this year. But then you had Gilmesh on the mound. They took off a couple of times. He was about 1-5 delivering the ball to home plate.
Well, it would be nice for the Indians to jump out to an early lead here today. They've scored first the fewest number of times this year in the American League. And when it comes to scoring in the first inning, that's been an almost non-factor. The Indians this year have not scored a first inning run in 13 of their last 14 games.
Well, you can see you can run off him, so it would be a good time. He's about the same time as Gilmesh is, so. Although down in the count 1-2. That's another part of the game. You say, okay, you can run on this guy, but it takes these kids a little while to get to know their moves as well. I mean, Sandy Alomar peering in over there looking for something that he might be able to help him with.
They get one at second. The relay, not in time. Trevor Crow had bluffed a move towards second base. Had he taken off, he might have been able to beat that. But he's erased on the fielder's choice, and there's one out.
Check out the number for Luke O'Shaver this year. And this guy gets a lot of help because he gets a lot of run support. He's 3-2. And see, with a .586 earned run average, you're thinking, man. But he's pitching on the right days. 26 strikeouts and 43 innings. He was a high draft pick for them a few years back, #1 draft pick. And he's just starting to get it.
Shin Soo Choo looks at a ball up high. He's 0 for 2 in the series.
You know, like so many young pitchers, it takes a while to appreciate it. He went into the 7th inning in his last start, allowing just 2 hits. And he was beating the White Sox 4-1. And then out in that 7th, he gave up 5 straight hits to the White Sox and 4 runs.
Chu did draw a couple of walks in last night's game.
Well, that's what Chu has to do when he's not swinging the bat. He's not as hot as he once was there for a while. He got hot for about 3 weeks or a month, and right now he's back into the, you know, he's just trying to tread water and find it.
He walked him. 2 on, 1 out. Travis Hafner coming to the plate.
Take a look at the Royals' defense. They are rated 13th in the league. It's Pasednik, Meyer, and DeJesus in the outfield. Cayespo, Betancourt, Aviles, and Butler on the infield, with Jason Kendall behind the plate. 31 errors this year for the Royals in their 41 games.
And Travis Hafner looks at a first pitch strike from Luke O'Shaver. Hafner 2 for 4 last night. Picked up an RBI, just his 12th on the season.
Well, that's something that he's going to have to do if this offense gets going. He's the guy that's got to drive in the runs.
And there's a line drive toward left center field, a base hit. Coming around third, Jason Donald. He's motoring towards home. He will score without a throw. And the Indians draw first blood today with a rare first inning run and lead it 1-0 as Travis Hafner picks up his 13th run batted in on the year.
Well, there's your first inning run that you were looking for. Boy, and it certainly does help. Hafner comes up, goes to left center. Let's see if that's the sinker. Yes, it was. The sinker away, stayed on it, hit it to left field, and finds a hole. That's the approach with that sinker. You try and pull that ball, a good chance you could hit it on the ground at the second baseman and hit a double play. But Travis gets a base hit. Indians take a 1-0 lead.
That brings up Johnny Peralta. As Hafner has now hit an 8 straight. Peralta 1 for 4 with a double in last night's game. And he's now hit in 9 in a row. Little nubber. Kendall takes care of Peralta. 2 down. Chu to third. Hafner down to second. And it will bring up Russell Branyan. Branyan is now mired in a slump offensively, where he has one hit in his last 18 at-bats. That covers 6 games. Overall, 0 for his last 9. Did draw a pair of walks last night. And a weak bouncer to second base. Mike Gavilas will throw him out. Indians strike first. After an inning of play here in Cleveland, it's the Tribe 1 and the Royals nothing. Play hard, eat fresh. By Continental Airlines. Work hard, fly right. And by your Northern Ohio Toyota dealers. Beautiful day here in downtown Cleveland. It's always a beautiful day in the truck.
There's Jimmy O. Look at everybody.
They move that fast all the time. People don't realize that.
Well, that's how much caffeine they have in them. They have to, man. The last 4 games have been a day game, night game, day game, night game. As though they've been flip-flopping on them.
Billy Butler leading off for Kansas City here in the second. Tribe on top 1-0. Butler 1 for 4 with a double in last night's game. Fastball just missed outside. Breaking ball, try to slice it down the line, and he does. Inside the line and into the corner. Choose throwing to second base. But Butler able to beat it in there.
Well, that's what makes Butler such a good hitter. That swing right there, where you can go inside out. And right-handers have hit much better than the left-handers have. But watch his inside-out swing. See, that's a breaking ball that he hung in the zone. And he consciously tries to go to right center field a lot to stay on the baseball, and that certainly helped him right there on the hanging breaking ball. But Chu made it much closer than what it was. That is his 11th double, a guy that had 51 doubles last year. Look at that, right field, has more hits than anywhere, but he sprays it all over the ballpark.
He is now tied with Alberto Callaspo for the team lead in doubles. With 11 is Jose Guillen, 0 for 5 last night. Looks to try and move Butler over here at the very least. But he won't do it. Donald Looks him back. Throws him out. One away. Today's injury report brought to you by the attorneys at Friedman, Damiano, and Smith. When you're injured, depend on them. Find Friedman, Damiano, and Smith online at fdslaw.com. Alberto Callaspo with a runner at second and one out. He was 1 for 3 in last night's game with a double. Foul back out of play.
Well, Mitch Talbot, over the last 3 starts for him, left-handed batters, he has really done a beautiful job on 3 for 34 in those starts. And that goes to show you how good his changeup is, but he cuts it, he sinks it. He's never, rarely does he throw a pitch straight. A lot of movement on it.
He's keeping it pretty simple by throwing a lot of strikes, letting them put the ball in play. Not a big swing and a miss guy.
No, and when you look at him, he's walked more than he struck out this year. 22 to 20. 22 walks, 20 strikeouts. He doesn't give in to the hitters, which is good. They don't know him a lot. He's making his first start today against the Kansas City Royals. It'll be interesting to see this second half of the year what happens, once they get to see him and what goes on.
He's only allowed 40 hits in 48 2/3 innings. Popped him up, foul, and no play for Peralta. The 1-2, socked to right field. Chu didn't get a real good read on it. And going to third is Butler, who couldn't get a read on Chu, so he wasn't really able to move himself.
That's exactly right. That ball, line drive, I don't know if Chu saw it off the bat or not. He decided to lay back on that ball. I mean, he's got glasses on. You can see it. I thought it was a line drive, but looking for him to come in and make a play, but he just decided to stay back on it. You see, he started to come in and decides, no, I think, I don't know. It's all a matter on picking it up. And I'll tell you what, in day games, sometimes it can blend into the white shirts or somebody in the seats.
Pretty obvious based on his reaction, he did not get a good read.
No, he didn't. He started to come in and then held up. Maybe he felt topspin. I don't know. It's a tough read. It was a line drive.
But runners first and third, one out. Mitch Meyer, the batter, 2 for 4 with a double last night. And both of his hits were opposite field balls down that left side. Kansas City made the most of their opportunities last night when they got that runner to third base with less than 2 out. They were 3 for 5 in those situations. And that's what they've got here, trying to tie the game in the second inning. Ned Yost, who was named the manager for the rest of the season after the Royals fired Trey Hillman last week.
Another 3-0 count. That's the 14th 3-0 count that he has had this year. Hitters are 2 for 7 and 6 walks in counts where he has been 3-0.
Is that already the third today?
I know it's at least the second. It is the third?
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't know if he's controlling that sinker as his pitch. He's not controlling today.
Well, he's walked him and the bases are loaded.
So that sinker is eluding him today. So the second walk.
Yeah, with one down, Unieski Betancourt will be the batter. Betancourt had the big blast in last night's game, a bases clearing 3-run double.
Well, he's got bases loaded again now with one out. And it was an 0-2 fastball that he smoked to center field. Fastball about belt high out over the plate. Watch the location. 0-2 pitch. Ouch. That's about the same 0-2 pitch that we saw in Baltimore. Austin Kearns hit for a 3-run homer. Remember that hanging split? Well, there you go. 0-2 pitches, you get them like that rarely. But when you do, you better take advantage of them, and Betancourt did.
Pop foul out of play. 1-1 the count.
Yeah, so far today, Mitch is 2 for 8 first pitch strikes. So he's struggling to find the strike zone here early.
Well, he's throwing more balls than strikes overall. 1-1 the count to Betancourt here with the bags full of Royals. And that's going to go foul.
Well, what he needs is just one of those pitches, a ground ball. Get out of the inning.
Indians and Royals have split 4 games so far this year. Interleague play over the weekend as the Indians will entertain the Cincinnati Reds tomorrow night.
Interleague plays here already. Can you believe it?
Yeah. Just a brief taste of interleague play before the down and dirty business of interleague will be here in June. Kansas City, they play Colorado?
Yes, they do. They play the Rockies tomorrow for the second time. At their ballpark.
Here's the set on the 1-2. And he just missed in tight with it. Ned Yost, his club has the bases loaded with one out here in the second. Tribe with a 1-0 lead. And the 2-2 is back out of play. Thought it was interesting. We were talking with Mike Swanson, the tremendous PR director for the Kansas City Royals, and he was telling us that, 49% of the strikes that Gil Mesh threw last night, the Indians fouled off.
Fouled off. Tommy was trying to tell us that last night. I wouldn't listen to him. But, yeah, you're exactly right. He couldn't put anybody away.
Betancourt rolls it toward third. Peralta gets the runner at second base, but that's only out number 2, and the Royals tie the game as Butler comes home. Not much he can do about that.
Absolutely not. Just not hit hard enough. But that's okay. They'll get their run and try and close out this inning. That looked like it might have been a sinker down and in that he was able to get. Johnny gets it over to Valbuena. Here's the pitch. So Betancourt, his 16th RBI. We have a new ball game.
First and third, 2 down, Jason Kendall. He was 2 for 5 last night. Every Royal in the lineup had a hit last night except for Jose Guillen.
Well, he almost got hit last night. Remember the emergency swing he put on? That ball would have hit him in the chest if he didn't hit it.
And a strike to the outside corner. After that at bat, Guillen just sort of stood at the end of the dugout, staring off into the distance, trying to assess what had just happened to him in that at bat. Missed in off the plate.
Well, he is working hard to try and find it. That's got to be a lonely feeling out there when one of your better pitches or your sinker, you know, you're trying to find it and he just can't. Continues to throw it. It's missing in off the plate to the righties. He can't throw it to the lefties. He's working hard to get through this inning.
Line down the right side, foul. No, there's two ways of looking at a pitcher struggling with his command. One is he can't throw it in the strike zone to get ahead in the count, and he's falling behind. The other is he's trying to throw it on the corner, and it misses out over the plate, or he's trying to throw it down, and it ends up.
I don't think he's trying to, to paint or, to nitpick or. He can't find it. Everything he's throwing is upstairs, and he's in, he's out. It's really a battle for him right now.
Jason Kendall with his 7th run batted in on the year, and the Royals take a 2-1 lead as Betancourt stops at second on the play.
You see, I mean, when you look at it, that ended up being a pretty good pitch that had movement on it. Marson's sitting in the middle of the plate. It's not like he's sitting on the edges. He's letting the ball move, and sometimes pitchers just don't know where it's going. And that could be one of those days for Mitch Talbot. But a 2-out base hit gives Kansas City the lead. 7th ribby for Kendall. And I told you earlier, when you look at the run support Luke O'Shaver gets, they've scored coming into today 34 runs. So he averages like 7.7 runs a game per 9 innings when he's in the game. So that's pretty good. 3rd highest ratio in the American League. I think it's safe to say if you're played for the Royals, grab one of O'Shaver's jerseys and put it on the bat rack with the day you're pitching. Let him think that he's out there. This will be pitch number 27 this inning for Mitch.
Well, the first inning didn't start off real well for him when he walked Pasetnik on 4 pitches, but then he tried to steal on the very next pitch and was thrown out. And that definitely helped him get out of that inning. He fell behind to Jesus with 2 outs, 3-0, and then came back and struck him out. So even in that first inning, you could tell he was fighting himself a little bit. This is pitch number 40 already today for Talbot. And a big high topper towards the bag, and there's the final out of the second inning. But Kansas City scores 2 runs on 3 hits, 2 men left aboard. Middle of the second, 2-1 KC. On top, bottom of the second inning. Bottom third of the Indians' order due up here. Matt Laporta, Luis Valbuena, and Lou Marson. Luke Hoshaver misses. Laporta did not play in last night's game. And just foul, wide of third.
Let's send along birthday wishes today to Tom Hogue, who is turning 18 today of Garfield Heights. Tom, happy birthday to you. What a great age, huh? 18? Do you remember turning 18? And I mean that in a good way. I guess not.
I can't say that there was anything, really
special.
Yeah. Jason Kendall, second time today, he's just plopped out in front of the plate, picked up the ball and thrown out an Indians hitter. One down. Time now for the AT&T trivia question. Do you remember my 18th birthday? No. AT&T Rethink Possible. Who is the last Indians rookie pitcher to win 20 games in a season?
Wow.
Last Indians rookie pitcher to win 20
That's got to go back a while, my friend.
Herb Score, maybe? Did he win 20?
No, I don't think his rookie year he did. I think his second year. Although he could have.
That'd be my guess. I'll just throw that out there. Up high to Luis Valbuena.
I think Herbie, his second year, got it. Not his first. But he was rookie of the year.
Valbuena. In the air, right center. Mitch Meyer has it. And that's out number 2. And then we'll bring up Lou Marson. He had 2 hits in last night's game. Marson looks at a ball down low. Right back to the screen. Strike is called. 1-2 the count on Lou Marson. We had those 2 singles in last night's game. And he rolls this one over to third. Easy play for Kai Espo. And the Indians go 1-2-3. After 2 innings, the Royals lead it 2-1. stay tuned later in the game and check out our Miller Taste Greatness moment. And we welcome you on this Sports Time Ohio afternoon telecast as the Indians and the Royals wrap up a brief two-game series in anticipation of interleague play. Mike Aviles, David DeJesus, and Billy Butler for the Royals. Hard ground ball backhanded at third nicely by Peralta. Low throw, but Brandon able to dig it out one away. Today after the ball game, Bruce Drennan will take calls and emails. Now all bets are off with Bruce Drennan right after the game here on STO. David DeJesus, he was called out on strike stand that first inning. Fastball strike. Now hopefully Mitch Talbot can find it after a very rough second inning. The Utah native who came to the Indians in the Kelly Shopik trade this past off season. He has been a pleasant surprise for the Tribe. Line toward left center. Crow moves over to cut it off. And already the fourth hit today for Kansas City.
Yeah, I'm starting to worry now when left-handers start getting hits off him because he usually dominates lefties coming into the game. Just hitting 129 off Mitch Talbot coming in.
Well, now Billy Butler steps in. He doubled. And his first at bat scored the Royals' first run today. Looks at ball one down low. Mitch Talbot was originally a second-round pick of the Houston Astros back in June of 2002 out of Canyon View High School in Cedar City, Utah. He went to the Tampa Bay Rays in exchange for Aubrey Huff. And he went with Ben Zobrist, who is now a key member of that Rays ball club. Talbot really showed flashes of brilliance while with the Rays. His first year in their organization in 10 regular season starts, he had a 1.90 ERA, and then he threw back-to-back postseason shutouts to help his team win the Southern League Championship. This ball's hit hard, deep center field. Crow chasing back over his head off the fence.
Played it beautifully.
Into third to Jesus. He'll have to hold there as Billy Butler slides in safely with a double.
I'll tell you what, Butler is swinging the bat. He looks like a different guy this week compared to the last time we saw him.
And so does Mitch Talbot.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And that's about it. 4 days ago, or 5 days ago, we saw him. He was much better than what he is today. Let's see if this pitch elevates. Oh, boy. He's lucky it stayed in the park, but it did barely. I'll tell you, Trevor Crow played this nicely. Watch him get it. He realized it was going to hit the wall, backed up, and barehanded. Very nice play. Got it in. It's still going to be a double. Second and third, one out, and a chance to add on.
Jose Guillen grounded out the short his first time up.
Still struggling to get ahead of hitters.
This already be his 50th pitch today.
Yeah, we haven't seen him like this all year. Even in that first game he started, Matt, he was throwing strikes and they were hitting him.
There's one off the end of the bat. It's going to drop
fall
in. It's going to score to Jesus. Butler will stop at third. 3-1 Kansas City. Jose Guillen picks up his 26th run batted in on the year. And that's 3 straight hits now with 1 out in the third inning. And it's just one of those days for Mitch Talbot. He's been very good this year, but he doesn't have it here this afternoon.
Well, when you make a decent pitch, that was off the end of the bat with a big swing. You'll see Crow trying to decoy, but you can read it. You can hear the sound of the bat. Butler was moving up as soon as he swung it, so he couldn't have scored anyway. That's his first hit against the Tribe this year. Unbelievable.
Alberto Callaspo had a base hit his first time up today. He's now 2 for 4 in the series. And it's down low. 2 balls, no strikes. Alberto Callaspo, a Venezuelan native. And he crushes this ball deep right field and way out of here. A 3-run home run for Alberto Callaspo, his second 3-run homer against the Indians this year. His 7th home run for the season, and now give him 28 runs batted in to lead the Royals. And the Royals now lead this game with a 4-run third inning by a score of 6-1.
Well, you can just tell he doesn't have it today. I mean, it doesn't take a genius. He's throwing pitches right there. He can't feel it. He doesn't have his command, his control, and he leaves that one middle in, and Callaspo makes him pay. That's number 7. Give him 3 more ribbies. That gives him 28. And we're going to see that bullpen, I'm sure, getting loose soon, because Mitch Talbot, it is not his day. And Luke Oshaver continues to get the run support. You got to love it if you're him. Another 6 on the board.
Bouncing ball to second. Valbuena throws him out, 2 down.
The battle for the Ohio Lottery Ohio Cup continues. That'll be tomorrow night. Tribe takes on the Cincinnati Reds. Interleague play taking place. You're going to enjoy a post-game fireworks show. Also student ID night. Call 216-420-HITS or visit Indians.com. Also have some fireworks on Saturday as well because of the rain out.
Chop foul over to the third base coaching box. And Luke Oshaver has to love what he's seeing from his Royals offense as they've scored 4 times here in the third to take a 6-1 lead. 0-1 pitch from Talbot. And a called strike to Betancourt, who doesn't like it. And the count 0-2. Here's the 0-2. In the hole, right side, and another hit for Kansas City. 5 hits in the inning, 8 hits in the game.
Okay, there's only, 3 guys in that lineup without a hit. Pasednik, Aviles, and Mitch Meyer. Hanging breaking ball. Out goes Tim Belcher. I mean, what do you tell a kid right now when he has a tough time finding anything? Probably has no feel or anything out there. What do you tell him?
You got to find something that
get
works.
Through this, you're going to have to get your work in today. You're going to throw your 100 pitches regardless. I mean, because nobody's up and getting loose. Normally, if that coach goes out, you get somebody loose. But he may have went out there and said, "Hey, Mitch, this is your ball game, kid. Find it."
I always remember what your pal Lenny Barker used to say about, if you get 30 starts a year, you go out there with 10 starts, you got great stuff. 10
the other
starts,
20.
10 starts, you got so-so stuff. 10 starts, you got nothing. You're tossing salad up there. And he said, that's where you got to find a way to try and keep your team in the game.
For 5 innings or something.
Figure it out.
And that's exactly what Belch might have told him. Hey, look, you're going to give us 5 innings here, so you better get a feel for it or try. And not that he's not trying. It's a lonely feeling out there on that island.
Well, I think, too.
I mean, you rarely see the defense standing around like it is now with him on the mound, ever.
The 0-1 is bounce foul. I think also, Tim Belcher doesn't want any of his starters, doesn't want anybody on his staff to get into the mindset that, I don't have it today, just bring somebody out of the bullpen.
Oh, yeah, right.
I'm not saying that that's what's happening here, but he wants to make sure that these guys hey, even if you don't have it, you got to dig deep. You got to try to find a way to get through it and pitch deep into the game somehow.
I agree with that. Because, there's a lot of times you can be down 4, 5, 6-0 or 6-1 like they are now. There's still a lot of game left.
He'll get out of the inning here as Valbuena throws out Kendall. But the Royals strike for a 4 spot, and they now lead it 6-1. Royals lead as we go to the bottom of the 3rd inning. So as Rick said, still a lot of baseball left in this game. Question is, can the Indians find some offense to get him back in?
Well, there's a lot of baseball left. I'll tell you what, day games, let's go. Start coming back. You're not going to get it all at once.
Trevor Crowe started the game with a base hit in the 1st inning. And a good breaking ball for strike 2.
Well, you can see O'Shaver goes out there now a lot more relaxed with a 5-run lead and feels like, okay, now I can just go out there and relax and throw whatever I want.
And he chased it for strike 3. First punch out for O'Shaver. Here's our Subway fresh face of the game. Subway, play hard, eat fresh Jason Kipnis last night, 3 for 4 with a double. 3 runs batted in. He's hitting 5 straight for the Kinston Indians. Jason Donald came around to score. The Indians only run on the first on a fielder's choice. Popped in the air. And the second baseman, Aviles, grabs it. 2 down.
Well, a battle for the Ohio Lottery Ohio Cup on Saturday night. Well, the Tribe will take on the Reds in that middle game of the series. All fans will receive a Slider OHIO figurine. And also, as I told you, there will also be post-game fireworks show for that game as well. So Friday and Saturday night, you've got some fireworks that are going to go on. Ouch. That little slider or cutter right off the instep. Oh, that's the ankle. That didn't get the foot. That got the ankle. Well, you see, we said last night we're going to start keeping score. Next year, I'm telling you, either that or we should start from the second half. But we did say this guy is a good sinker ball pitcher. Yeah. I mean, you can see the good sinker.
1-1 count. Two balls and a strike. Luke Hoshaver, the Royals starting pitcher, 6'5", and he comes from a very athletic family. His dad played for the Denver Nuggets back in 1979.
Oh, yeah?
His mom played college basketball and volleyball. His sister was a 2-time All-American volleyball player at Long Beach State. And his younger brother, Dylan, a lot of folks who know the family think is the best athlete yet, and he's at the University of Tennessee right now.
No kidding.
He had to redshirt after he had elbow surgery.
Tennessee, that's where Murph gets some of his shirts that he wears, his golf shirts from Tennessee.
He's a volunteer.
Yes, he is. Well, if his dad played, let me think. Dan Issel, was he with the Nuggets back then, I'm thinking? He might have been.
Probably 1979. That sounds about right.
I think he was there in the middle of his prime there, so he got to play with big Dan Issel.
And Luke Hoshaver walks Shin-Soo Choo.
I think that's what Choo's. He's got 2 walks. Both of them have come against Choo. He's going to have to remain patient like that.
Here's our great clip from last night. Great clip of the game brought to you by Great Clips. Travis Hafner with an RBI hit, driving in Shin-Soo Choo. Hafner's 12th run batted in on the year. Relax. Here at Great Clips. Runner goes, called a strike. Not even close.
Choo. You know
Shin-Soo Choo with his 9th stolen base of the year.
Even though you're down by 5 runs, it's still early enough in the game. He's trying to be aggressive and get himself in scoring position. Good for him. Steals it easily. And as I was saying before, we went to the replay with Choo. He's your best hitter in that lineup, and teams are just not going to pitch to him. And so he's going to have to accept those walks, I think, until they really want to throw strikes. It's very difficult to do. But they're going to say, okay, if you want to swing at pitches, you're going to hit my pitch or I'll walk you if you don't want to take the walk.
1 ball and 1 strike to count here. And a roller to second base. Hafner grounds out, inning over. 3 complete from Progressive Field. It's the Royals 6 and the Indians 1. 6-1 Royals on top, 4th inning. And Mitch Talbot delivers down low to Scott Pacetnik. Matt Underwood, Rick Manning with you, and joined now by Dave Zastudil, who is the punter for the Cleveland Browns and a Bay Village native. So obviously, even though he played for those dreaded Baltimore Ravens early in his career, it's got to be nice to be back home wearing the orange and brown.
Oh, it is. It is. At first, I took some heat, knowing that the whole Art Modell move and everything. But coming back here now, it's all worked out pretty good.
And you've had a lot of success, punting throughout your career. I mean, going back to high school, I know you were a quarterback. And then there were times where you'd lead your team down the field, and then whether it be punt or kick, or you kind of do a little bit of everything.
Yeah, I tried. It's funny. I was always the guy that I played quarterback since a sophomore, so I was always expecting to go play college ball as a quarterback. And then when they says, "Hey, we think Division I only wants you as a punter," I said, "Hey, I'd rather play Division I, Division III." So it worked out pretty good.
So who did you idolize when you were a kid growing up if you were a quarterback?
Yeah, well, obviously Bernie Kosar. I mean, the late 80s for me in Cleveland was the greatest. I mean, the whole John Elway rivalry, the Bernie, the Brian Brennans, the Webster Slaw. I mean, it was a great time, and unfortunately I wasn't able to be a quarterback, but growing up watching those guys was a lot of fun.
So never a punter. Never a punter.
No, well, Tom Tupa a little bit, only because he's from Brecksville. I'm from Bay, so we were both Cleveland guys, and he had that quarterback background. But he's probably the one guy I really remember.
Okay.
And Brian Wagner and a little bit too, but Tupa was always the one.
And of course, you've got a big camp coming up this summer in June. You and Phil Dawson, really a specialized camp for kickers and punters, kids who really want to. Learn the finer points, and what can you teach young guys about that?
Yeah, June 13th from 8 o'clock to 12 p.m. at Bay High School, we're going to do it. And what we want to do is, there's not a lot of camps around here locally that you can teach a kid the fundamentals of kicking a field goal, punting the ball, how to train for that, the techniques to use, and even the proper stretching. So we want to kind of do that, and all the money we're going to do is going to go to a benefit called RAI, Rise Above It. A friend of mine in Bay High died of cancer. And his brother and I played football together. So I've always been helping this foundation. It's a really good thing. So that's at RAIbenefit.org, and it's a really good thing.
Good deal.
But to get to the camp, you have to go to marsportsmarketing1.com, and that'll be that's where all the registration is.
Aviles lines out to third for out number 2, and I think we've got a graphic. We don't have it now. We'll get it up for folks later. But marsportsmarketing1.com, you can log on there, get yourself signed up for the camp. In June at Bay High School. Dave Zastudil, and you'll have Phil Dawson there as well?
Phil will be there, yes.
Well, you guys spend so much time during the season together anyway. What about Ryan Pontryagin? You going to bring him in, too?
Well, I got some guest speakers coming, so Ryan might be able to do that. But I think Reggie Hodge is the guy that filled in for me and is on the roster now. During the season, is going to help out with the punting, and we'll have some other guys there trying to get some prizes. And Pizza Pans helping us with the food, USA Quick Prints with the signs, and Logo Ohio for all our T-shirts. So it's going to be a pretty good camp, and I think kids will learn a lot.
2 down here. Indians down 6-1 in the 4th. David DeJesus singled and scored his last time up. And this is a tapper. Goes foul up the first base side.
I got to find out, what's the difference in the balls that you guys use that you have to kick compared to a regular game ball? They're different, right?
They are. Quarterback has his balls, and the guys scuff them up for the game the way the quarterback likes them. We have 50 minutes before a game. We send a guy in, and you have 11 balls. He has 50 minutes to really kind of scuff them the way you like them, because those things come out with wax on them, and they're impossible to
slippery.
Kick. Yeah. Slippery. So we just tell them, hey, do the first 4, because you're probably not going to lose them. And if we get to the 5th ball or something, we're hurting a little bit.
That's pretty strange,
especially in November.
So you get 50 minutes to do it. I'll tell them to bring in the grinding wheel, the sander, and get it all off.
Well, I remember in the old days, guys would talk about putting them in the dryer to try to soften them up and loosen them up. Sure. Is there any one thing that's foolproof for you that you found that worked over the years?
We like to wet the ball with a rag, and then there's a brush. You scrub all that wax off, and then use the rag again, and hit the seams. I mean, there's a bunch of things, but to me, that's the most important guy in our organization.
Yeah, exactly, no doubt. That's interesting.
But everybody likes it different. The quarterbacks, the kickers, the punter, and sometimes Phil and I like a different ball. So we got to come to some kind of agreement.
And the count goes full now to DeJesus. And, of course, you're also, if I remember correctly, you're the holder for Dawson.
Yes, yeah.
So when he comes out to kick, I mean, you're his number one guy.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We all have to work together on that. And you see a lot of teams out there with the quarterback being the holder, and it's kind of hard because there's not a lot of time you have to work with them. Whereas if the punter's the holder, you have all practice to be there and work on it, and the timing's there, and the muscle memory and all that, so it goes real well together.
And being the former quarterback, I'm sure you're constantly lobbying Coach Mangini for the old fake field goal and throw one down the field.
Yeah, that's an important decision, risky decision, but, hey, you know, if he calls upon, I'll be ready to do it. And we did a couple when I was in Baltimore, and unfortunately it didn't work out, but at least that threat's out there for teams to have to practice against.
Yeah, you see these maniacs running after you. When you don't have much time, you better get rid of it.
And you don't realize how fast these guys are until you're actually playing. I mean,
I can imagine when you get out there between the lines, it's a little quick.
Yeah, those guys are a different breed now. Yeah, you know? I mean,
yeah, they're about 270 chasing you down, ready to kill you.
Running like 4.5.
I know it.
Now, Dave, coming out of high school, I mean, when was it at first that you realized, okay, I'm not going to be a quarterback next level, I'm going to have to look at punting?
Yeah, probably my senior year. I had a couple of Mid-American colleges look at me, universities. And then, you know, the Ohio States, some of the big-time schools wanted me to walk on. And I think sometimes, you know, I had to make the decision, and I think it's important for all athletes, is when you want to make a decision where to go as you're, you know, going to play a sport, is if you got hurt that first year and couldn't play again, is this the university you'd want to be at? And so I went to Ohio U. That was the decision I made compared to Toledo, Miami, you know, some of these schools. And fortunately, I didn't get hurt, but I had a great time at Ohio U. And I think it helps the parents out when you get a little scholarship, too, you know?
Sure.
As a parent myself,
I'll tell you what, that's great.
3-2 pitch in the air, center field. Back goes Trevor Crow. And he'll pull it down. Dave, great to meet you.
Yeah, thank you for having me on.
Good luck with the camp this summer.
Thank you very much.
All right, that's Dave Zastudel, punter for the Cleveland Browns here in Progressive Field. It's 6-1 Kansas City. On top. Bottom of the fourth inning here at Progressive Field. And Johnny Peralta takes a strike. Johnny Peralta, Russell Brandon, and Matt Laporta. Weekly hit to center. Mitch Meyer. One away. And that'll bring up Russell Brandon, who grounded out to second base in his first at bat. Luke Hoshaver, starting pitcher for Kansas City. Talked about it earlier. Athletic family. Baseball is always his love, even at an early age. And you know, you think about growing up in Colorado, it's not a whole lot different than growing up in Cleveland in terms of the weather. You know, a lot of cold weather, a lot of snow, not exactly ideal. when it comes to baseball. But when he was in the 8th grade, Luke Hoshaver took a woodshop class, and he built an indoor pitching mound for his first class project. And he said, I got a lot of wear and tear out of that thing. He said it was the only place where I could actually go, take it to the gym, and I could pitch. You know, when you got the snow flying and the weather's crummy, you can't really get your work done outside on the ball diamond. So he said, I built something practical.
Well, that's not a bad idea.
2 down now for Matt Laporta. This is slugged to deep center field. Meyer is back onto the track, and the Indians go 1-2-3. It's 6-1 Kansas City through 4. Caramel or mocha, blended with a hint of coffee and ice. McDonald's, I'm loving it. By KeyBank. Stop in and start a conversation and unlock your possibilities. And by Panini's. Visit PaninisGrill.com for a list of new locations. Fifth inning. And the Royals have a 5-run lead. Billy Butler, Jose Guillen, and Alberto Callaspo. 80 pitches so far from Mitch Talbot. Luke Hoshaver has made just 46. But Talbot coming off a 1-2-3 fourth inning. We'll see if he can build off of that. After
he's grinding away, man.
Inning.
He's grinding away. Had the rough third inning. Went 1-2-3 in the fourth, and like he did in that start in Detroit. Remember those last 2 innings? He got through them. You know, to stay in that ball game and at least give your team 5 innings.
Butler has hit the ball hard in his first 2 at-bats here today. He doubled down the right field line and scored in the second. He doubled off the fence in center field in the third and also scored. Full count. This was leading off the second inning, slicing it down the right field line.
Hanging breaking ball. And I mean, with authority. He's been swinging the bat very well.
And ball 4. A leadoff walk for Butler here in the 5th. Let's have a look at our GMC 5-star league leaders, brought to you by the GMC Sierra. Never send a truck to do a Sierra's job.
How about the Royals?
On the road.
You know, they're second in the league in batting average. 279 on the road. You know, their ballpark is not a bad ballpark to hit in, but more of a doubles park or alley park, not a big home run hitting park.
Right back over the screen. 0-2 the count. Stay tuned to Sports Time Ohio later tonight at 6 p.m. for another installment of Tee It Up Ohio. Jimmy Hanlon, Mike Cairns will be teeing it up at Hawthorne Valley.
All right.
Rolls it to third. Peralta to second for one. Valbuena's relay in time and a double play. Let's go back to the studio right now for this in-game update. Here's Al Pawlowski.
Hey, Matt, Rick. Interleague play starting tomorrow at Progressive Field with the Reds. The Phillies and the Indians will play in June. Phillies playing today. They're up 1-0. Chase Utley, a home run on top of Chicago. Second inning now, 1-0 Philadelphia. Back to you.
And Al will be back later tonight with Indians Minor League Magazine at 6:30. That follows Tee It Up Ohio here on Sports Time Ohio. Al and Jason Stanford will break it all down for you. Two balls, no strikes. Alberto Callaspo, the 3-run homer that was the killer in that third inning. But he got a fat pitch and he crushed it.
Yes, he did. Middle in. Ouch. He hit that 3-run homer back in Kansas City. That game when the Indians had a 3-0 lead.
He hit that one right-handed,
Yes,
didn't he?
he did. He sure did.
Off David Huff. 3-1 pitch.
You know, he's got 6 of his home runs left.
Fair ball. And Brandon will take it himself. We'll head to the bottom of the 5th here in Cleveland. It's the Royals 6 and the Indians 1. Royals on top. And Luis Valbuena leading off this bottom of the 5th inning. Applied to center in his first time up. One ball, one strike. The scoreboard update brought to you by Wendy's. You know when it's real, it's Wendy's. Popped in the air, a little routine fly ball for Scott Pasetnik. And that is out number 1. You know, we noticed the other day with Valbuena how he was starting out with the bat on his shoulder.
Right.
And the Indians were trying to make that adjustment. And Manny Acta told me, you know, it's something they're working on, but he said it's not something that it's going to happen overnight for him. He said, you noticed the other day it was starting on the shoulder, but it was quickly coming up and going away.
Right.
Because as he said, and you were talking, it's a little hard to diagram without being on camera, but you're trying to get your hands to the hitting area quickly.
Right.
And when he lifts the bat off his shoulder, he gets that big loop in his swing. And they're working on it, but it's a work in progress, as Manny told me.
Nothing happens overnight. It's got to be a comfort thing. You know, a comfort zone where he does it automatically, and it's just a matter of feel. So every time in batting practice, you'll go out and do it, and it's going to start, you know, it's called muscle memory. It'll start taking place and affect it until you can carry it over in the game. But normally, as a hitter, as Marson goes down looking, he's window shopping.
Two down.
You know, any hitter, I mean, it's got to become, and that's a good pitch on the outside corner, just natural. It's got to feel natural. And what you want to do, they're trying to get him a short swing, lead with that bottom hand of the baseball to stay on the ball because he's hooking around a lot of them. You're susceptible to, you know, to breaking balls, and you get, I guess you end up getting pull happy.
Trevor Crowe able to hold up on a pitch down and in. He's 1 for 2, singled in the first. Behind the bag, Billy Butler goes himself. 1, 2, 3 go the Indians, and Luke Hochevar has retired 7 in a row. Is Kellogg's Rice Krispie Treats for $1.98 at any Northeast Ohio Mark's location.
So head into your nearest Mark's, where you'll find a huge selection and low prices every day.
Six-one. Royals on top, 6th inning here at Progressive Field. Large contingent of school kids on hand here today. The Channel 3 WKYC Weather Education Days program taking place before the ball game with Betsy Kling, Holly Strano entertaining the youngsters before the game. Mitch Meyer walked and grounded out today. Going to get some activity now in the Indians bullpen as Talbot closes in on 100 pitches. Valbuena takes care of Meyer, 1 away.
Well, as the Indians wrap up that series with the Cincinnati Reds on Sunday, it'll be Kids Fun Day with activities out on the Gateway Plaza, speed pitch, batting cages, and much, much more. You can stay out there till the 5th inning. Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton and Hall of Famers Leroy Kelly, Anthony Munoz will be on hand to sign autographs. So come on out. That'll be Sunday right here at Progressive Field.
The 100th pitch of the day for Mitch Talbot.
Well, I wouldn't, you wouldn't think you were going to say that back in the third inning. And I got to tell you what, the kid battled. This is the second time. His first start against Detroit, you thought he was knocked down, but he got back up and finished 5. And today he's got a chance to do it for 6.
Donald with a nice play going to the backhand for out number 2. Well, here's our game recap brought to you by your Northern Ohio Toyota dealers. For a dealer near you, visit buyatoyota.com. Indians scored first in the first for one of the rare times this year, but that's been it offensively. Jose Guillen with an RBI single, and then the big blow, a 3-run homer by Alberto Callasco in a 4-run third inning for the Royals, and they lead it 6-1. Jason Kendall 1 out of 2 with an RBI single back in the 2nd inning. This may sound cliche, but you look at a game like today for Mitch Talbot, and you hope what this is a learning experience.
Oh, it definitely will be.
You got banged around in that 3rd inning, but instead of throwing in the white towel, picked himself up by his bootstraps and was able to give you 3 more innings after that.
Think about it. Ever since Belcher went out to the mound, had that little talk with him, he really settled in and did a great job. And, he battled. I don't know if you feel sorry for yourself when you're out there. I'm never a pitcher, and, when you're getting hit around, you can't feel too good. And he's been the master at stopping losing streaks for the Indians to this point. 4 times he's done it. And he got beat around early. But I'll tell you what, man, he stepped up and he finished 6 innings. Good for him.
Takes them out 1, 2, 3 here in the 6th. But it's the Royals in front, 6-1. front, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and Museum. A rocky start today for Mitch Talbot. But, as we pointed out, he was able to pick himself up and pitch 3 scoreless innings after that disastrous 4-run third inning. Now let's see if the offense can pick him up. Jason Donald shoots it foul past Sandy Alomar. Donald 0 for 2, reached on a fielder's choice and scored the Indians' only run back in the first.
They haven't had, that's it. He scored on Hafner's RBI single, and that's the last hit the Indians have had. He's retired everybody except he walked Chu back in the third inning with 2 outs, and that's been it. Made it look very easy.
He strikes out Donald looking. 3rd strikeout for Hochevar. 1 down in the 6th inning. Well, here's the answer to our AT&T trivia question. AT&T, rethink possible. I was thinking Herb Score. You were thinking maybe Louis Tion. Sam McDowell, possibly. How about Gene Bearden all the way back in 1948?
You know, now that I think about it, he won 20 games his rookie year, and I think he only won 8 or 9 games after that for the Indians.
Good time to do it, though, the year they won the World Series.
And I think he pitched that clinching game, the extra game they had to play in Boston to get there.
Mm-hmm. There's a drive to deep left. Back goes Posednik. He won't get to it. Chu into second base with a 1-out double. Snaps a string of 8 in a row set down by Luke Hochevar.
Well, Chu did the right thing, boy. His eye, he's been on base every time. He's walked twice and took that breaking ball to left center field. And he's got an excellent stroke when he stays on it. I just have a feeling he's not going to see many strikes nowadays in this lineup.
Travis Hafner, big bouncer, room service hot for Butler at first, 2 down. Browns fans, don't forget, your kids can learn to play like the pros at the Cleveland Browns Youth Football Camp. Children ages 8 to 14 can learn the football skills they need at the Browns training facility in Berea, June 21st through the 25th. Space is limited. Log on to clevelandbrowns.com and register today. Johnny Peralta with a foul. Hochevar's 0-1 pitch. Up high to Peralta. Johnny rolls it foul. 45 of Hochevar's 64 pitches have been for strikes today.
Hochevar trying to stop a 3-game skid against the Tribe. Last win came against CC Sabathia here. That was May 3rd, 2008. And the Tribe has beaten him the last 3 times. But he's on his way. Well on his way of getting a win here this afternoon.
Down low, 2 balls and 2 strikes. And now the 2-2. Missed in off the play with it. And Johnny Peralta has run the count full. Deep to left. Posednik back at the fence, and it is gone. Johnny Peralta with a 2-out, 2-run homer. And the Indians come back, cut the lead in half. It's a 6-3 ball game.
Now they needed a spark, and there it is right there with 2 outs.
Peralta's 3rd home run of the year.
That's what they needed. That is only the 2nd home run given up this year in 50 innings, or darn near 50 innings by Hoshaver. It's a breaking ball. He leaves up out over the plate on a 3-2 pitch. Peralta is going to deposit that one as a souvenir. So for 3rd home run for Johnny Peralta, they cut the lead in half. It's 6-3.
Just the 23rd home run for the Indians. They had been tied for the last spot in the league in home run category with Seattle coming into today's action.
Look at Fausto. You don't think that's a kid just having fun?
Russell Brandon 0 for 2 today. 0 for 5 in the series. And now 0 for his last 12 overall. Johnny Peralta's 2-out, 2-run homer, though, has drawn the Tribe to within 6-3 as we go to the 7th. AT&T. Find out more of what's possible at ATT.com. AT&T, rethink possible. Buy the Sierra from GMC. Never send a truck to do a Sierra's job. And by Wendy's. You know when it's real. Wendy's. (6-3) Kansas City on top. 7th inning here at Progressive Field. Johnny Peralta's 2-out, 2-run homer has drawn the Tribe to within 3, but now they need some scoreless relief from Rafael Perez, and that is something he has not been able to deliver
they need it
this
badly.
year.
If you're going to come back, you've got to put zeros the rest of the way if you're the Indians. Perez has had a hard time doing it. He's allowed 28 base runners this year in just 10 2/3 innings. So a lot of times he has pitched from behind. 2-0 counts. He's made it very tough on himself. But they need to have a 0 thrown on that board to get that team right back into the dugout and hitting again.
In his last 6 appearances, so that's his last 6 times out of the bullpen, Rafael Perez has walked 5 given up 9 hits and allowed 6 earned runs. Scott Posednik is 0 for 2. And he pops it out of play.
That's the Posednik we saw last year. It looked like he was moving a little bit in the batter's box, trying to run and slap. I haven't seen it this year, but watch this. See those feet moving? He's getting happy in the batter's box. He did that a lot last year against the Tribe when he was with Chicago. He had the moving feet, just trying to slap it over Peralta's head at third. You know, against it hasn't mattered this year against left-handers and right-handers with Rafael Perez. 389 against left-handers, 444 against right-handers. So it hasn't mattered. He hasn't been able to consistently get anybody out. And a guy that used to dominate both sides of the plate. I mean, you know, that year he had low 200s.
Posednik shoots it in the hole and a leadoff single. The next batter is Mike Aviles. He is 0 for 3. Shot out of play. Well, the Indians have given Rafael Perez every opportunity to try and work himself out of his funk, try to find it, if you will. He's out of options, so they can't send him back to the minor leagues. They'd have to put him on waivers.
Yeah, they could, and somebody could pick him up. But they always say you're out of options for a reason.
And I think that's why the Indians have given him every chance.
Well, and Manny bringing him into an inning where a left-hander's leading off, you got the right-hander, and then another left-hander. I mean, so he's trying to set his case. He's got the right-hander ready for Butler and Guillen. He's got Ambrose ready to go. But, I mean, you're right. You can't – they picked and chose great situations for him.
Valbuena was moving towards second when the ball was hit, and now Chu makes an error. The ball goes through his legs. Posednik coming all the way around to score, and that was ugly from the get-go. And it's now a 7-3 Kansas City lead.
Well, within 2 hitters, you got to put a 0 on the board, and they've got to run. So Perez doesn't help. The defense doesn't help. Valbuena looked like he was breaking. I don't know if it was the runner going on that pitch. Because watch Valbuena.
No.
Watch Valbuena. He broke the wrong way. He breaks the wrong way going to second base. Chu doesn't come up with it. It goes under his glove. And this is turning into a circus right now.
I'm not sure what Valbuena was doing there.
You know what? He did the runner. I thought the runner was going and he was breaking to second base, but he obviously lost it because he got no read on the ball. Got by him for a base hit, and then it gets under the glove of Chu. Here's a good look at it. See, he's going, and that's no jump. I mean, that is absolutely no jump whatsoever. And then Chu doesn't pick it up. Crow backing up. They get a run. So it's a base hit, an error on Chu. Boy, that play, that was strange looking. That was a good shot by our guys up here. Nice shot, Carey. You see it. I thought the hitter was running. That's why I saw he didn't get a jump.
David DeJesus 1 for 3. 7 runs on 10 hits now for Kansas City. Fouled out of play. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And a 1-2 in the infield and swung out and missed. Got the strikeout, and DeJesus, mystified, walks back to the dugout.
Well, there's one. He gets him to chase out of the strike zone and gets the strikeout. So 1 out. Manny's going to go back to the bullpen. That's going to do it for Perez.
Rafael Perez out. Hector Ambrose in when we return. Lead as Hector Ambrose comes in to the ball game with a runner at third and 1 out. He'll be facing Billy Butler. Jose Guillen.
Well, not an easy task because the way Butler's swinging the bat, he's been locked in. But Ambrose going to get an opportunity. And Manny said the last time he brought him in, it was a tie game down in Tampa. You know, you can't bring the same guys in every day. You've got to check out and see what you got. And he's at that point with Ambrose, and, you know, I don't blame him. You got to find roles for that bullpen. And, you know, especially when it's not working out on a consistent basis, you've got to try everybody. And this young man, who's a Rule 5 draft, as you all know by now, is going to get a look-see. But he's got a tough hitter to face right here. Man on third, 1 out. Infield will come in a 7-3 ball game.
The infield in, and the pitch is popped up.
That's going to do it. It should happen. Chu can throw him out here easily.
Avila's tags, but he will not come home. 2 down. Let's send it back to the studios for an in-game update. Here's Al Pawlowski.
Well, Matt, this weekend the Reds come to town, the first place Reds, and they put up an 8 spot against Atlanta today in the second inning, highlighted by this grand slam by Joey Votto, his 10th of the year. 8-0 Reds, second inning in Atlanta. Back to you.
Thanks, Al. 2 down, runner at third. Jose Guillen, RBI single and a run scored back in the third, and he takes a strike. There's a drive deep to left. Laporta going to watch this one sail into the seats. Jose Guillen with his second hit today and his 9th home run of the year. Give him 2 runs batted in here, 3 for the day, now 28 on the season. And the Royals have restored their comfort.
Yeah, close the book on Perez. He gave up a pair today.
3 runs here in the 7th inning. Makes it a 9-3 Kansas City lead.
Fastball. There it is. Nitro zone. He drives it out of here.
2 more runs charged to Rafael Perez today in a 1/3 of an inning. And while he didn't throw the ball well, you still have to wonder where Luis Valbuena's head is right now, the way things are going for the Indians' second baseman. Defensively, it's kind of a curious move towards second base.
I'm not making excuses. I'm not making excuses, but sometimes in day games it may be tough to see the baseball. He might not have picked it up off the bat. Could very well be. We'd have to sit and ask him after the game. You know, so if that's a question, we'll have to do that either after the game or tomorrow. But he was caught in between.
One-two pitch in the air. Left field. Back goes Laporta. Crow takes it. Inning over. Royals get 3. Stretch time in Cleveland. 9-3 Kansas City. Bottom of the 7th inning. Bottom third of the Indians ordered 2 up here. Matt Laporta, Luis Valbuena, and Lou Marson. Don't forget to stop by Panini's this spring. Grab a refreshing beverage, overstuffed sandwich. Visit paninisgrill.com. Check out all their locations throughout northeastern Ohio. Scott Posednik has left the game, and Willie Bloomquist takes over in left. Tomorrow the Cincinnati Reds come to town, and boy, they've been playing good baseball.
Boy, they certainly have.
Start the day atop the National League Central Division standings by a half game over St. Louis.
They've been getting some very good pitching, and you talk about come from behind wins or late inning heroics. They have had them. I think, 13 times they have come from behind late in the ball game.
They've won 8 of their last 10 overall.
10 wins in their last at-bat, Redbird tells me. I know they came back yesterday. They ended up losing the game, though, but they scored late to tie it.
That's like 1995 Cleveland Indians pace right there.
Well, you know what's funny? You talk about that.
Long fly ball, left field. Back goes Bloomquist. Onto the track. One down. Yeah?
You talk about that. Mark Wiley was in town. He's scouting, looking at the Indians and scouting them. Part of the coaching staff in 1995, back with Mike Hargrove when the Indians he was the pitching coach. So we were sort of reminiscing about some of those days and the comebacks in those games. He said people, they realized that old team could hit. He says, but I'll tell you what, there were a lot of close games. They scored late in games, and that's how they had all those come-from-behind wins. They got the tough, the big clutch hitting, 8th and 9th inning.
People forget that was really the hitter era, and, whether you want to label it the performance-enhancing era, whatever. Offense was the name of the game then. ERAs were through the roof all across the board, but the Indians
led the league.
They led the league in ERA. People don't realize that because the numbers were so skewed toward offense back then. But those teams, they had some pretty good pitching. And remember, Rick, wasn't it 1995 when Julian Tavares had double figures in the win column coming out of the bullpen, which speaks to your point about coming from behind late. Tavares would come in, pitch a couple innings out of the bullpen, and he wound up 10, 11 wins.
That's exactly right. And then any time that Mesa walked into the game, it was a save.
2 down here in the 7th. 4 strikeouts for Luke Hoshaver. Lou Marson, 0 for 2 is the batter.
There he is. There's Mark Wiley. Good job. Former Indians pitching coach, now with the Florida Marlins. And he was their pitching coach for quite some time. Down there. From here, he's going to head to Detroit. So he goes out and checks out pitching staffs and gets to go one time through the rotation, a first series. He was with us down in Tampa. Yeah, we were talking. He said, you don't realize until years later how good a teams you were on. Until you see how long guys play for. The Vizquels, the Ramirez, the Tomies still playing. Alomar back coaching.
Larson out looking. Indians go 1-2-3, and after 7, it's a 9-3 Royals lead.
and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cleveland Indians.
Eighth inning here at Progressive Field. It's a 9-3 Royals lead. Mitch Meyer, Unieski Betancourt, and Jason Kendall due up for Kansas City. And Hector Ambrose goes at him with a first pitch strike. Meyer 0 for 2 with a walk today. Two balls and a strike. Getting back to your point about Mark Wiley and reminiscing about some of those Indians teams in the mid-'90s in particular, don't you think it's natural though, especially when you're coaching or you're playing or even as a broadcaster, when you're in it, when you're in the middle of it, it's hard to step back and really assess where a team ranks or how good they are.
Oh, yeah, you never do.
It takes some years off to give it the perspective. Up the middle, Valbuena with a backhander. And Meyer retired for out number 1.
Well, 12 tickets to see 12 biggest games of the year, including the Yankees and Red Sox. It's the Pepsi 12-pack plans that start at $256. That's just $21 per game. And Pepsi 12-packs are on sale now. Call 216-420-HITS or visit Indians.com.
Unieski Betancourt fouls a pitch back out of play. For example, when you look back at that pitching staff that Mark Wiley was working with here, you had Dennis Martinez, and Oral Hershiser, and then
Charlie Nagy.
They added Ken Hill into the mix late in the season. Charlie Nagy.
Wasn't Mark Clark here then?
Mark
or was he
Clark
gone?
Was,
94, 95, I thought.
Yeah. Trying to remember when he was traded.
I think it was right after the 95 season.
No, he was in the mix, though, no doubt about it. In the air, left center going to drop. Crow cuts it off, and Betancourt has to hold with a long one-out single. That's his second hit today. Now one-out base runner now for Jason Kendall. Don't miss Tee It Up Ohio Thursday nights at 6 on STO HD. Jimmy Hanlon and Mike Cairns explore some of the best courses in Ohio. And now they want to put gas in your car. Every month they'll give away a $250 marathon gas card. Visit teeitupohio.com and register today. Jason Kendall drove in a run back in the second inning. He's grounded out twice since then. And a liner, backhanded by Valbuena. They get one at second, and Donald turns two. We'll head to the bottom of the eighth here at Progressive Field. It's still 9-3 Kansas City. Progressive Field. Kansas City in control with a 6-run lead. Luke Hoshaver pitching into the 8th inning here today. Top of the order, due up for the Tribe. And outside for ball 1 to Trevor Crow. Good pitch in for a strike. 85, actually 86 pitches now made for Luke Hoshaver here today. So,
man, that's going into the 8th inning. That's a breeze. He had a 6-pitch 4th inning, a 9-pitch 5th inning.
Crow out in front of it, fouls it down the right side. Well, the Indians have gone 1, 2, 3, 4 times today. That usually helps you get deep into a ball game. Bouncing ball to second. Routine there from Mike Aviles. Takes care of that. 1 down.
All right, Tribe fans, get geary and go cheer. If you spend $50 or more at any Indians team shop, a concession stand, or go to Indians.com, you'll receive a voucher good for 2 tickets to any Indians home game in May or June. So visit Indians.com for the details.
Jason Donald 0 for 3. Donald and Shin-Soo Choo for the Tribe here in the bottom of the 8th inning. And a swing and a miss. 6 strikeouts for Luke Hoshaver here today. 2 down in the 8th inning. And now time for our Miller Taste Greatness moment. Shin-Soo Choo has been off and running.
Well, he's had his running shoes on today. He's been on base every time. A couple of walks, hit a double. Stole one back in the 3rd inning. And he is a solid base runner. Choo with 9 stolen bases on the year.
There's a high drive to center. Back goes Meyer. And he pulls it down, and the Indians again go 1, 2, 3, 7 in a row set down by Luke Hoshaver. Lead it. Ninth inning. Here at Progressive Field. Top of the order for Kansas City. Hector Ambrose came on in the 7th, worked the 8th, and he'll try to finish through the 9th. If the Indians don't rally here today, they'll be stuck on 15 wins, which is the 3rd fewest in baseball. Only the Orioles at 13 and the Houston Astros at 14, along with Seattle also at 14, have fewer wins than the Indians. Willie Bloomquist draws the walk in his first plate appearance after coming on for Scott Posednik. Mike Avila steps in. He's 1 for 4 today. Singled and scored back in the 7th. In the air, right field. Chu. A little trouble with the sun, but able to hang on for out number 1. Hector Ambrose misses outside for ball 1. People always wonder, when is rock bottom for a team when they're struggling? I don't know that the Indians have necessarily reached a low point. But obviously, when you came off that road trip with a 4-4 record and a chance to take on Kansas City, a team they fared well against on the last road trip, they felt pretty good about their chances coming in, but they're 3 outs away from being swept in this 2-gamer against KC.
After the ball game today, right there. Be on a pair of skis behind it and get after it.
Luke Hoshaver going for the complete game win. 94 pitches. He'll start the ninth. They've got activity in the Kansas City bullpen in case he runs into some trouble. But he hasn't had much of that today. 5 times he has retired the Indians in order. Pitches up high. 1-1. He's retired the last 7 in a row. At one point today, he retired 8 Indians in order.
Yeah, he has been in total control today. As a matter of fact, the only mistake, he hung a breaking ball to Peralta back in the 6th inning where he hit the 2-run home run. Peralta did. And the Indians, that was their 8th home run at home this year. And only the 2nd by a right-hander, and Peralta has both of them. He has had 13 counts of 0-2-1-2. And we talk about it all the time, how important it is for pitchers like that. And I think that's why Hoshaver has 6 strikeouts today, because he's been able to expand the strike zone of the Indians hitters.
In the air, right field, there is De Jesus looking up into the sun, and he pulls it down. 1 away. Our player of the game today is Alberto Calespo of the Kansas City Royals. His 3-run homer in the 3rd made it a 4-run inning, made it a 6-1 Kansas City lead.
Well, you can see on the season his 2nd 3-run home run. He's having a good year against the Tribe, hitting .421. Definitely a difference in this game and the one that was back in Kansas City that they won on Getaway Day.
Well, he's thrown 70% strikes today.
You know, pretty much that's what it takes to complete a game nowadays. If you're a pitcher, young pitcher, you got to throw strikes. I mean, about 70%. Because if you're going to be around 100, maybe 110 pitches for a ball game, boy, you have got to pound the strike zone and make them put it in play.
Fouled away by Johnny Peralta. Hoshaver with the 0-2. And he bounced it in front of the plate. Jason Kendall. He's caught every game in this series. A lot of times a veteran catcher gets the day off with the 12 o'clock start, but not him.
Isn't that the truth?
Got him. 7 strikeouts for Luke Hoshaver. He didn't have a strikeout in the first 2 innings. Had 1 in the 3rd. Had 1 in the 5th. 1 in the 6th. Then punched out 2 in the 7th. 1 in the 8th. And now 1 here in the 9th. Russell Brandon 0 for 3. Weekly hit to second. And Mike Aviles throws him out. The Indians go 1-2-3 for the 6th time today. Luke Hoshaver retires the last 10 Indians in a row to end the ball game. He gets the complete game victory, his 4th win of the year. And the Royals improve to 17-25 as they sweep this 2-game series from the Tribe. And they now lead the season series 3-2. With the loss, the Indians have now dropped 4 in a row. They are now 15-24 on the year. The loss goes to Mitch Talbot today for the Tribe. His season record drops to 5-3. Time now for our play of the game, brought to you by KeyBank, banking home of your Cleveland Indians.
Well, you go back to the third inning, and he has one out, a couple of guys aboard, and we're going to see. Alberto Callaspo hits a 3-run home run. That really had the impact. And you could tell today early that Mitch Talbot didn't have it. This guy made him pay, and it was a breeze for the Kansas City Royals after last night's big win. So that's going to be our KeyBank key play of the game.
Soul-searching time for the Indians as the losing streak is hit 4 in a row. And a day today where they did not muster much at all offensively, scoring just 3 runs on 4 hits. We're back with the Conrad's Tire Express and Total Car Care postgame show next.